So I'm delighted this afternoon to be with Julia Wetherell. So Julia has presented at the Commercial Property Summit, which seems such a long time ago. Coronavirus people heard of, but to be fair, people didn't really see the effect it could have. Certainly the effect in Italy, and this isn't a video about coronavirus, it's about effects in the property market. Julia, do you want to just explain to the listeners out there a little bit about who you are and yourself and your sister, Noted Property is the company?
Okay, so I'm Julia Wetherell and I work with my sister. We have a business together. We call it Noted Property. We develop up in North Yorkshire in Harrogate area. We've got a kind of mixed portfolio. We tend to take, older buildings and do lots of conversions. Like, for example, the last one we did a lovely old care home into 6 luxury flats. So, we're currently developing at the moment. And also my sister does a lot of interior design and a lot of interior. We spoke at the Commercial Summit, didn't we, about care homes and older people. And so I think she does a lot of design work for older people's residential and homes and things like that. So yeah, that's who we are.
Julia, so look, in terms of strategies and so forth, and what you've immediately seen, I didn't realize you've got a portfolio which includes HMOs as well.
Yeah.
So, I was speaking to Daryl earlier about some of the issues about how people would be valuing. I'm not sure if it was Daryl or someone else about the valuations of HMOs at the moment. But what have you noticed as being a landlord?
Okay. Well, I think as a developer, can I start with the developer? Is that all right?
Yeah, brilliant.
It was the hardest at the moment in terms of, because we literally had 2 projects about to exchange last week, and one of the things that's really hit us is one of the people giving the loans, a provider, has asked us to they put the loan on hold until they make a decision. The loan's not being pulled, but they've asked us to just hang on and it's on hold. So that's I mean, in a way, I'm not sure. I think we're all right with it. We understand their reasons for doing that. We're thinking about risk mitigation. But their concerns were a lot of things like, builders, lockdown. Are we going to go into lockdown? Are we going to be able to? What's the length of the loan that we're going to need? They were concerned about valuations. So we're kind of sitting tight at the moment in terms of doing our developments. We've been doing a lot of talk with our builder up north, who they both are ploughing on, and they're, we've been doing a lot of kind of meetings around, what they're thinking about timescales and their strategy for, carrying on going. They've given us a lot of information about what they're doing to mitigate the risk for their builders, like, having less people on site at the same time, or their apprentices aren't working with them at the moment, just to kind of reduce the risk. They're doing lots of things like cleanliness processes, cleaning tools and stuff. So they're assuring us they're carrying on going, but obviously we don't know what's going to happen if there is the lockdown where people aren't allowed to work. So from a developer's point of view, we are a little on hold, actually, because we were at the point of 2 projects just about to start. So we're not in the middle of a project at the moment. Does that make sense? So, it's at a time where we were just starting things. So
the 2 which have been put on hold, were they London or outside of London?
Both in Harrogate in Yorkshire. Yeah, one's a flat conversion and another one's an 8-bed HMO up there. So they are both currently just waiting for us.
Because I've had lots of conversations over the last week. I've spoken to Daryl from Lendwell. I've spoken to Sam, to be fair, from Bond Finance, Sam, who's given interesting perspective, more from the surveyor perspective of the delay in surveyors, and also it's not just maybe people don't want to necessarily go out, but less staff as well, particularly when the coronavirus takes full effect.
Yeah.
And length of loan, which is interesting as well, you mentioned.
I mean, we're talking about, so I'm doing a bit, we're hopefully going to work with Daryl to do a bit of lending soon, and I've been talking to Daryl myself about it, and we're talking about, because they're currently, that fund is still okay to go ahead, but we're just talking about lengthening the length of the bridging loan from 9 to 12, maybe 15 months, just to ensure that, and we need to get into further conversations about interest holding and stuff like that. Should we be on lockdown, we need to think about mitigating our own risks, as well as lenders protecting themselves. We need to think about protecting ourselves. I don't want to be sitting there with a build on hold, paying interest every month for our, bridging loans. So we do need to think about that ourselves, about whether, what they can also do to help us, essentially.
So looking at the landlord side, because you're
Yeah.
the first person who,
Right. Okay.
I've managed to do a video interview with,
Okay.
in terms of landlord or traditional landlord, I would say.
Yeah.
So in that sense, what's it been like? You know, I don't know if you're part of any organizations like NLA or something. Have you taken their advice, or what advice have they given?
Yeah, no, I've worked quite closely with our agents, and we've sent letters to all our tenants, just updating them. In the letter was things like, for our HMO, for example, just being really clear that, please don't visit the agency office at the moment. Please contact us by phone or email rather. I've increased the cleaner. What he's doing at the moment. So the cleaner was going in once a week. He's now going in for twice a week, and he's doing things like cleaning touch points, door handles, things that are, frequently
Insignificant, yeah.
Yeah, so he's been disinfecting the house, and particularly communal areas. Well, so I've asked them all to get in touch with me for maintenance problems, because in case there is a lockdown, we won't be able to do very much. So anything urgent or non-urgent, really, tell us now prior to lockdown, because we probably will only be able to deal with urgent stuff during lockdown. We have spoken about their own hygiene in the house, just to be looking after themselves, and being mindful of others. In an HMO, I think anybody that runs an HMO knows that commonly there's quite a lot of, mess in the kitchen and things like that. So I've just asked them to be really mindful of others, particularly if people are being shut indoors, just being sure they're cleaning, using the dishwashers, that kind of stuff. I've also started a WhatsApp group, which was kind of half running before. I'd kind of let it go a little bit, but I've kind of got back on that, and we're keeping in touch for that. And I've given them a link to all the benefits should they need that. So I've given them the link that they need to go to, what entitled to, .gov.uk is what they need to look at to see what they might be entitled to. I've not had anybody not being able to pay yet, but I can't imagine as a landlord that's not going to happen. So I'm just, I think I'm going to have to deal with that on an individual basis, I think, just to see how, I'm going to one by one and show people. I mean, a lot, hopefully, with the 80% of wage, a lot of, we've done a bit of a risk assessment with our tenants to think about what their jobs are and what's the likelihood of them not being able to pay. So anybody in the food industry, for example, in restaurants, etc., that's a high likelihood. Anybody that's employed by the government, they're more, do you know what I mean? So we've done a bit of a risk assessment on our current tenants, a stress test about what level can we afford to continue,
So I was going to ask you, so looked at development, looked at landlord. So what's the key in terms of Thursday evening? It's called recession proof your property business. So what do you think the main thing you've done is? Is it being proactive in terms of being a landlord, or what would you say the main thing you've done on the development side? Is it working with your builders? Is it in terms of strategies? Is it not changing too much too soon?
I think, honestly, we are just we are risk averse anyway, my sister and I, and I think actually what we're trying to look at the moment is not jumping into anything that we may later regret. So just being really, really mindful and conservative, and, just being essentially, I think, a bit more risk averse than we normally would be. I think we've got to let things play out a little bit, because I think we're just at the beginning of what might be a real big lockdown. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? But if that's the case, we can't start to build. I think we're letting things run for a couple of weeks at the moment. I don't think we want to jump into anything new right now. I think if I was already in a build, then I would certainly. Well, we are certainly talking to the builders. I think I'd be also talking to my lenders and looking at what they're thinking. Because the worst thing, obviously, would be getting a loan pulled in the middle of a build. That would be terrifying. And I think keeping in contact with your lender would be a big bit of advice for me, and finding out where they're at. Yeah.
So Julia, how can people find out more about yourself apart from, for example, coming along on Thursday evening virtually through the Zoom call? I did get someone criticizing me today for having an event on Thursday, but it's not in a room. You can be in a room, but not with other people, or well, it's up to you how many people you want. But literally, my event I'm doing from home, and you can be home or you can be where you want. I can't, prescribe to people where they're going to be, but it's at 7 o'clock in the evening. Delighted you're going to be with Aaron Yahara, Daryl Norcutt from Lendwell, Rod Turner, and David Lawrenson. So David is brand new to my events in some respects. He's not that new. He's been on my events about 2 years ago. So people there's lots of people come in over the last couple of years who would not have heard of David Lawrenson, but he's been around since the 1980s. So very much a traditional landlord, but also a wise head, been featured in Financial Times, Guardian, numerous other publications. So apart from coming to my events virtually at the minute, how can people find out more about you? Is it through Instagram?
Yeah, we've got an Instagram account, Noted Property. We've got, I'm on Facebook, Julia Wetherell, and also on LinkedIn, Julia Wetherell. And we've also got a website, www.notedproperty.com. So any of those routes would be wonderful. Yeah, please have a look.
So I just want to say massive thanks for taking time out this coming Thursday. And as I say, it's a virtual event. I'm using the platform Zoom, like lots of people seem to be using Zoom at the moment. So some companies have actually done or been busier at the time of this event. So massive thanks, Julia, for your time today. And thanks to the listeners.